Hi, I'm Destiny. Welcome back to my channel, Mom's My Teacher. I am a homeschooling mom of a preschool age child. This video is actually how to homeschool your preschool age child. Each state for the grades kindergarten and up has its own legal requirements to meet for homeschooling. However, pre-K or preschool in general does not. There are no requirements. There is no standard. It's really the parent who is setting the precedence. And that's kind of a hard spot for parents because that leaves them not knowing where to start, where to begin. So I'm just going to give you just a little bit of practical advice. But number one is if your child is really interested in something, whether it's a hobby or a topic, definitely run with it, because the more interesting something is, the more engaging it's going to be, the more they're most likely going to learn. So run with their interest. Number two of my practical advice is find your baseline. When it boils down to it, the preschool age is really all about kindergarten readiness. Where you can find a checklist is either online through your local preschool, or you can even go to the CDC's website. Even your pediatrician's office should be able to provide you with a Pearson assessment to see where your child's skills are or where they need to emerge, things like that. So that's exactly where I would start. Number three is values. When you're talking about what to teach your child, it's actually entirely up to you and your own family's values. I know a lot of homeschooling moms, dads, they actually have faith-based curriculum. I don't do that. That's just an example. For me, I want my child to know how to be a happy and satisfied person, but that's not necessarily a class that he takes. I might implement it in a social emotional activity during our homeschooling curriculum. I might actually talk about safety. I want my child to know his phone number. I want him to know our address before he turns 5 and my actual name, not just mom. What do you do in a situation where someone's not being kind to you? Like, how do you react to that? These are the things that are not academic that you probably want to make a list of, and keep that in your homeschooling binder. And just remember that there is values and then academics. Two separate things you probably want to teach. Which leads us to number 4, academics. I'm just going to read off my little list here because I have organized notes for this. I have a homeschooling binder, and that's how I keep organized. And then I have a homeschooling guide and rubric. I'm actually going to leave this in the description or link in my bio via Instagram, just in case you guys want this. Okay, but this is how I do it. So right now I'm teaching my child, who is about to be 4 next month, phonics, reading, speech, motor, which is kind of like a gym class, math, unit studies, and I put extra for just in case. I could have put values there or extracurriculars there, maybe like sports. I could have put anything, but I put extra as a miscellaneous. So this first column is the subjects that I'm teaching, and then the rows explain exactly how I want to teach it. So for example, for phonics, I want 2 letters of the week that we're going to be focusing on. And how we're going to do it is multi-sensory learning. It's also called VAKT, which stands for visual, auditory, kinesthetics, and then tactile learning. V stands for visual. So we're going to, like, for example, write down the letter A and S. We'll go over what it looks like in print. Audio would be A is for apple, apple. And then K would be kinesthetics, which is, I'll give you an example, but it's the sensory of squishing something. So this is a standard Play-Doh mat where you squish Play-Doh into that dot, and it's sun. So that's an example of kinesthetics. And then tactile is something similar. Oh, I actually have a example. Have you guys ever heard of finger phonics? This is by Jolly Phonics, I believe. It came out in 1993. And they use the sat pin method, which is basically not teaching your ABCs in alphabetic order, but in sat pin order. We do that here. This is tactile. So your baby can trace letters and they can feel an indent in the book. This is letter T. Tactile literally is just touching. You can also maybe like have a bucket of sand and have their, like, write their name in the sand. That's an example of tactile. Jolly Phonics. Also, I put for phonics rhyming, alliteration, syllables, segmentation, decoding, blending, and I want to work on one sight word of the week. I actually have an additional page that kind of looks like this, but instead of having the words there, it's blank so that I could write in exactly what activities we're going to be doing. So letters of the week, I'll write is S and A. We're going to do this rhyme, and this is the sight word that we're going to do for phonics. And I'll write it in so that I can prepare myself for the next week. This necklace is getting uncomfortable, but I really feel like having a rubric helps me because I don't want to make something up on a weekly basis. I really want to just fill something out because I don't like spending too much time thinking about just creative ideas. Sometimes I am a creative person, but sometimes I feel tapped out with what we're going to do. So I really just want to spend 45 minutes or less, 20 minutes if anything, thinking about what we're going to do this week. And then once I have that list into place, I kind of just like highlight some of the activities if I don't have the resources available. For example, if we're going to do something with pom-poms, I'll add it to my grocery list, I'll highlight it and then check it off. And it just makes the system a lot easier. I actually wanted to touch on how we schedule in homeschooling. For us, I'm really busy actually working on Mondays and Tuesdays full time, and then I'm part-time on Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and then I have the weekends off. So I actually prepare on Sunday nights the activities that we're going to do, order any materials that I need, and then prepare the activities on Mondays and Tuesday nights for Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. That's what works for me. That's kind of like the time that I'm working with. Other people, they have like an agenda and then they schedule in time. I don't do that. I kind of just have this list and I check it off when we get to it. That's pretty much it. Because for me, you don't know if your child is going to be in the mood to do something at an exact time of day. They are preschoolers. They're moody. They're hungry. They want attention. They don't want attention. Like, it's really unpredictable. So I don't actually have a set schedule for homeschooling. And lastly, number 5 is track your child's progress. I actually don't have a very specific system to track my child's progress. I literally just write it down in my notebook. If there's something that I think he's nailed, I'll write down that we don't have to go over this again. Unless he asks, I won't go over it again, only because I don't want to bore him. I don't want it to be not fun for him. So I'll definitely write that down in my notebook for myself as his mom teacher. I'm actually going to wrap this video up now. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe, and follow for more.
The next video is going to be how I create my thematic preschool units. It's a deep dive into specific topics, and I'm going to show you exactly how I do them.